Okay, good morning class. Welcome to our English for academic and professional purposes for this semester. This is going to be our Module 6, week number 7, writing a critique or a critical analysis. We're going to know the patterns, the techniques, and the methodology, and even the importance on how to do a critical paper. So let's learn our objectives for this morning or for this week. At the end of this lesson, the student, you will understand the structure of critical essay. What is its structure? Like of course the basics, this introduction, the body, and the conclusion. And then secondly, let's appreciate the importance of writing a critical essay, especially when we are doing some comments, critiques in our informal writings sa Facebook, sa Twitter, at also saan pa. Okay? And then our goal is for you to write a simple critical essay. Okay? We're not going to be an expert after this lesson, but we are going to at least experience how to write a simple critical essay. So let's proceed to our main topic. First, we should understand what does criticism or critical analysis means. First, criticism means the art, skill, or profession of making discriminating judgments and evaluations. When we talk about critiquing, hinihimay-himay mo. Pinag-iisipan mo at talagang inaalam mo yung mga bagay na merong implication sa'yo, merong dating sa'yo at merong impact sa'yo. At merong kang initial reaction when you hear things that unfamiliar to you or something that against your virtue, your philosophy, your beliefs. So yun yung mga bagay na kinikriticize natin. Depende sa the way the people present their thoughts, their ideas, their research, or anything that has to do with writings, freedom of speech, yung mga freedom of expression, the way we express. We always have this innate nature to have a critique, especially nowadays sa ating social media days, okay, the post-millennial, because here we are more freely to comment to others' ideas, opinions, and even their beliefs and philosophy. So criticism is like that. You're going to put your own discrimination, your own evaluation, and your own judgments regarding someone's idea. You are challenging them. You are challenging their thought. Okay. So moreover, a critical analysis is subjective writing because it expresses the writer's opinion or evaluation of a text. When we talk about subjective, it is your own idea, okay? It is your own thought regarding someone's ideas or someone's thought. You're making a counter proposal, okay? That dapat ito yan, dapat ganito yan. Yung sinabi niya medyo confusing, misleading. Yung sinabi niya medyo against sa aking paniniwala. So, yun nagkakaroon ka na ng analysis. Subjective yun, galing yun sa'yo. It's your opinion, but based upon someone's idea. So, sometimes ito yung counter proposal mo nga, okay? So, antithesis. Yung thesis ng iba, kinokontra mo. So, it becomes the antithesis, okay? So, when we talk about analysis, it means to break down and study the parts. Hinihimay-himay natin, okay? Yung grammar, yung words, yung semantics, yung syntax, even yung context, yung intention ng author. Lahat yun, yung geographical context, yung grammatical context, historical context, yung audience, yung writers mismo, yung author. So, everything na meron dun sa writing na yun, hinihimay-himay na natin, ina-analyze na natin para siyang palaka na hinihimay-himay natin yung kanyang structure sa ating science class before, di ba? Tingnan natin, ito yung bones, ito yung flesh, ito yung heart, ito yung meat or muscle. Hinihimay-himay natin, dinadissect natin. So that's analysis. Combining them together, the criticism and analysis, so is basically you're breaking down into parts yung someone's idea and someone's thoughts or philosophy or beliefs. So that's criticism. That's critical analysis. Writing a critical paper requires at least 2 steps. Of course, you need to have these 2 steps or 2 preliminary requirements for you to have a understanding on how to write a critical paper. First is the critical reading, and secondly is the critical writing. So everything is critical here, okay? So of course kailangan mo rin na magkaroon ng critical reading. Identify the author's thesis and purpose. Hindi ka lang basta kumuha ng isang portion, nababasahin mo 'yon, bibigay ka ng comment. So hindi yan critical reading, because critical reading is something that you understand the whole idea, you understand the whole structure, you read that, you understood that, and hindi lang yung a portion of that, okay? So kaya critical reading, you are reading it with analysis, with understanding and comprehension, because there are readings na binasa mo lang talaga. So when you ask them about what they understand about what they read, nothing comes into their mind, because it's not a critical reading, it's just reading, okay? Or probably skimming, ini-skim lang nila, okay? Ang bilis nila magbasa. So we need to have this preliminary skill, the critical reading, na kailangan na para tayo makapag-come up sa critical writing, okay? So accuracy is whether the author's idea is correct and precise. So that's accuracy. Okay, ma-identify mo lang yan kapag ikaw ay nagkaroon ng critical reading. Okay, so you start with reading before you do the critique. Okay, so you do not critique without knowing the other's idea, position, or belief, or their thesis. Okay, so you have to understand that by reading it critically. Okay, himayin mo muna. Kasi pag gano'n lang mabias ka, as if you are better than the author, as if you know better than the author. So kapag nag-comment ka without actually reading first, critically, yung kanilang writings. Okay, so here are some questions that we needed to ask when writing a critical essay. Was the proof presented? Okay, when you presented your idea, yun ba ay based doon sa data or sa writings, opinions, judgments ng author na kinikritik mo? Okay? So baka naman you're making just an assumption, tapos yung assumption mo is not supported by ideas and not even written dun sa sinabi ng author. So kailangan meron kang proof. Okay, like just pag nagpe-present ka ng case, okay, so kailangan may evidence ka. Okay, you have to support it with evidences. Kundi yung iyong opinion, yung critique is not valid, not even reliable. Where the words used mean exactly what the author really wants to convey. Okay, so laging may ganun eh. Every writing has this original intended meaning ng author. You have to understand that. You have to locate the thesis statement or the thesis of the author. Okay? Kailangan malaman nyo yung talagang pinagsasabi nila. Kasi kung dun pa lang ay na-mislead ka na, so then it follows na lahat ng iyong susulat regarding that paper ay invalid na siya. Okay? So, critical reading requires purpose. Why am I reading this? Bakit ko ito binabasa? Context. What connects this work to others? Identity. What is the author's main idea? Analysis. What is my opinion on the main idea? So, hindi ka lalayo sa main idea. Nandun ka lang lagi. You stick to the main idea. You stick to the original intention of the author and find that purpose, context, identity, and analysis. And that is reading critically. Okay? So, kailangan yung ma-identify yon. So, another things that we have to understand is the relevance, the clarity, and the logic of your critical analysis. When we talk about relevance, is the importance and significance of the author's idea to the topic being discussed and even in a broader idea. Okay, ano ba yun? Ano yung kahalagahan? Kaya nga relevance eh. Ano yung kahalagahan ng idea ng author na ito dun sa kanyang paksa? Bakit niya ito tinalakay? Bakit niya ito pinalawak? Okay, ano yung gusto niya talagang sabihin? And then clarity, it's the understandability. Gaano mo siya naiintindihan yung structure, yung organization ng idea ng author. And then logic, of course, the soundness of the author's idea, which is established primarily by giving proof and support for the claims he or she makes. Okay? Even you, sa paggawa mo ng paper, you have to have a relevance, clarity, logic, and then accuracy. Okay? Yung apat na bagay na ito, ay mga mahalagang elements in doing a critical reading and critical writing. Okay, so accuracy, relevance, clarity, and logic. Okay, so let's have an example. This is a critique of Mary W. Shelley's to Frankenstein, the real monster of Mary W. Shelley's Frankenstein. Okay, so here's the thesis statement, yung kanyang critical paper. Okay, so the thesis statement is Mary Shelley, throughout her novel and characters, tells a story of the monster who is a victim and of the creator who is a monster. Okay, so this is a critique sa ginawa ni Mary Shelley. Ano yung ginawa ni Mary Shelley? Yung Frankenstein, the real monster. Okay, supposedly, you assume na ikaw ito. At ganito mo ginawa yung analysis mo, critical analysis mo, doon sa writings ni Mary Shelley about Frankenstein. Okay? So, let's assume na ako yung gumawa nito. And here's my critique. My introduction would be, Mary Shelley analyzes vital issues in her novel in terms of being able to use science and knowledge for the good of people and not for the satisfaction of personal ambitions, without even being able to take responsibility for that. It is also the novel of social rejection based on external looks and inability to accept. The real monster in the novel is not the creature but the creator himself, who dared to undermine the laws of nature and play God. So, in-introduce muna niya yung author dito. In-introduce niya yung author, in-introduce niya yung novel, at binigyan niya ng kabuuan na gist or summary kung ano yung patungkol dun sa story. Nireveal niya na kagad dito na hindi si Frankenstein, the created being, yung real monster dito, but the creator who undermined and the laws of God or play God. Okay, so let's go to the body. As the novel goes, the reader realizes that the real monster's actions are made by Victor Frankenstein. First, he rejects his own creation. Then he simply feasts to forget what has happened. Then his brother dies as the revenge of the monster, and he lets an innocent girl die taking responsibility for his death. Eventually, he loses his best friend and his wife and dies himself. Victor realizes the moral side of his actions only when he starts working to create a female companion for the monster. At the same time, a female companion is the only chance for the monster to be happy. The loss of this hope makes the creature revengeful. Thought the creature looks like a monster in the outside, inside he simply wants to be happy just like everybody else and have somebody to share everything with. The other hand, Victor Frankenstein looks like a man in his external, but his internal being is a real selfish monster. There's a conclusion. Mary Shelley seems to call the reader not to forget about the spiritual development in the thirst for scientific discoveries. In between the lines, she tells the reader the moral values should never be forgotten and the dead should remain dead. Mary Shelley implies the fact that every action has a consequence, and a true man must be ready to take full responsibility for his actions, and there are possible consequences not only for him, but for his family and the society. The creature is simply a victim of Victor's scientific ambitions, and these ambitions have converted Victor himself into real monster. Alam niyo ba yung story about Frankenstein? Okay, the Frankenstein, hindi talaga si Frankenstein yung malaking monster na merong malaking dito. The Victor Frankenstein is the one who created that big monster with a screw here. So yun yung the monster there. But according to this, when he analyzed the novel, the story, or even if you watch the movie about the Victor Frankenstein, ma-realize mo dito, when you do a critical analysis, okay, pwede kasing ang critical essay can be your movie critic, your situational critic with regards to government, politics, history, science discoveries, and so on and so forth. Okay, so everything na merong idea, nagpe-present ka ng antithesis, okay? Nagpe-present ka ng anti-proposal regarding that existing idea. So here, in-analyze niya kung ano ba talaga yung real monster doon sa story. Is it the created being, the Frankenstein monster with a lot of tahi-tahi sa kanyang katawan, operated, talagang patay na, tapos ni-revive lang, may mga tornilyo, maraming puso, at kung ano-ano pa, at malaking tao. Okay, so, or the creator, na he is trying to play God by siya mismo ay nagbibigay ng buhay, resurrecting the dead, and then kung ano-ano pang mga bagay na undermining the laws of God, okay, or the laws of nature, and acting like God, okay. So yun yung conclusion niya dito. It is not really that monster, yung literal monster dito sa novel na ito, but the real monster here is the creator, Victor Frankenstein. So ganun yun, alright? When you watch movies, when you try to read someone's opinions as well, you try to understand first ano ba talaga gusto niya sabihin. Ano ba talaga yung intention niya, bakit niya to sinabi? Sino ba yung audience niya dito? Ano ba yung sitwasyon? Ano ba yung kalalagayan nila doon? Sino yung mga characters? Paano nila to kinonvey yung emotions nila? So, when you try to look like that sa mga movies, mas malalo nyo may enjoy na hindi lang pala ang Avengers ay patungkol sa superheroes playing superheroes, okay? So meron din kasi mga tinatawag na mga worldviews yun, okay? Meron din mga morals yun, okay? When you watch cartoons, animes, and so on and so forth, lahat kami mga morals yun eh. Hindi yun basta-basta piniplay lang just for entertainment per se. But it has an intention. The writer wrote that literary piece because meron silang nais na i-convey. Para mga kanta yan eh. Okay, when you also analyze the songs, ano ba sinasabi niya rito? Okay, so kailangan magkaroon kayo ng critical analysis. Alright? So let's proceed. When you disagree, do so reasonably and not contentiously. Alright, so reasonably, ibig sabihin talaga, it is supported with idea, it is supported with logic, accuracy, clarity, mga bagay na sinabi natin kanina, and not contentiously. Yung wala lang, okay, so for the sake lang na pangit naman ang content na to, hindi to maganda, pangit yung kanyang grammar, you don't do that, okay? You give justice to the writer, okay? You always have this position na hindi ka mas magaling sa writer, hindi ka mas magaling sa author, okay? Sila na-publish yung kanilang gawa. Tapos ikaw or tayo, magbibigay lang critique sa kanila, samantalang hindi naman publish yung work natin. Okay? So, dun pa lang, mas alam natin mas professional sila kasi tayo mga students lang, sila mga professional writers talaga. Okay? So, you do it reasonably. Okay? Demonstrate that you know the difference between knowledge and personal opinion by presenting good reasons for any critical judgments that you make. Okay? So, there are three at least conditions must be satisfied if controversy is to be well conducted. Number one, make an attempt at impartiality by reading, listening sympathetically. When you say reading and listening sympathetically, talagang binibigyan mo ng justice yung words, yung structure, yung genre, yung context, lahat-lahat. Binabasa mo siya ng maigi, hindi lang, ang haba naman ito, nakakatamad mo basahin ito. Let's skip this part, let's skip this part, let's skip this part. Okay? So every part of the story, meron yung impact sa kabuuan. So you have to read it and you have to listen sympathetically para hindi mo miss out yung lahat ng details ng mga yan. Okay? So acknowledge any emotion that you bring to the dispute. Okay? Galit ba siya nung sinabi niya to? Or galit ka ba nung nagbigay ng opinion sa kanya? Okay? So because your judgment can be clouded by your emotion. Okay? Or dahil galit ka sa kanya, kaya ganun lahat yung opinion mo sa kanya. Okay, kaya kailangan mo rin i-assess your feelings and even the author's feeling, paano niya to sinabi, paano niya to in-express. And state your assumptions explicitly. Okay? When you say explicitly, it is presented with evidences, proofs. Okay? And hindi yung magbibigay ka lang ng mystery sa sinabi mo. Tapos mga pabitin pang mga salita. Okay? You, as much as possible, stay to the point. Okay? So do not look your statement na paikot-ikot ka lang, wala namang pinatutungan. Alright? So let's proceed more about criticism. Criticism is determine the author-speaker solution to the problem or question that he or she posed. Which problems were solved and which were not? Did the author or speaker know which were not solved? understand the main points of the authors and the basic evaluation points. Then again, just like I said earlier, is the accuracy, relevance, clarity, and logic. Okay, so take note again of criticism. Okay, there are two things. There are two criticisms. So it is a constructive criticism and destructive criticism. Constructive, ibig sabihin, magbibigay ka ng opinion for the sake ng development ng author na yon. Destructive criticism is yung masabi lang, okay? Inisiraan mo lang siya, okay? Without proof, without evidences, with full of subjectiveness and biases, okay? So, kailangan ng criticism natin is laging constructive, okay? Kahit na sa ating mga kapwa, okay? When we criticize someone, you also, you have to criticize them constructively, okay? So, kailangan hindi for the sake na sisiraan mo lang siya dahil para ipakita mong mas magaling ka, mas mahusay ka. Hindi. You criticize them properly. Alright? So, take note as you read. Find the important words, terms in the book, message, and determine the author, speaker's meaning of these terms with precision. Alam nyo naman yan na ang words can be different depending on how the author used that. Okay? Kaya kailangan ninyong identify yung mga words na yon, okay? Sometimes yung words na yon ay hindi yun yung understanding natin sa mga salita na yon. You have to take down of those words that you feel you don't understand, and then tignan niyo yung context kung paano siya ginamit doon sa sentence, sa paragraph, and even sa as a whole, okay? Jot down your question, comments, and unclear points for this may form part of your paper. Alright, so jot down muna. Do not say that you disagree or agree or suspend judgment until you have adequately interpreted the book or message. Huwag mo lang, I disagree, I agree. Okay, huwag muna. Okay, present mo muna lahat ng mga ideas mo. And then sa concluding part mo, doon ka pala magbibigay ng final position mo. Okay, so supportahan mo muna. Diba yung sinabi nga doon sa Frankenstein story kanina na ating binasa. Sinabi niya doon sa introduction niya that the real monster is not the creature but the creator. Okay? So, bitin yun, pero pinesent niya yung idea na yun doon sa body, and then kinukonclude niya yun doon sa kanyang conclusion. Of course, here's my final view, final opinion, final comment, final critique of this story. So, sa conclusion mo siya. So, your body will be your presentation of your data. Okay? So, do not begin criticism until you are able to say with reasonable certainty, I understand. Complete the task of understanding before rushing in. Okay? So, wag muna kayong magbigay ng final judgment not until you presented all the ideas necessary to make a position. Okay? So here is the preliminary things that you need to do when you make a critical analysis paper or critical essay. First, drop your paper. Be patient. Your first attempt would take time. Alright, so just write randomly. Okay, ito yung mga comments ko. Ito, sulat lang ng sulat. Okay, this is a pre-writing. Okay, at tsaka yun na siya pagsamasamahin kapag pag-jot down na kayo randomly, kahit hindi yan, sabi niyan, remember that the goal of the first draft is to put into writing all your ideas identified on the pre-writing stage. Okay? Lahat lang ng mga nakita mo, lagay mo lang. Okay? Mind the grammar and mechanical neatness on the final draft. Okay? Pag tsaka mo na siya i-structure, ayusin yung grammar, ayusin yung organization. Kapag ano na siya, gagawin mo na siya sa final draft. Kasi sa first draft, you just write everything that you discovered dun sa iyong ikikritik. And find connections among your notes. Pag connect mo siya. Connect the dots. Okay? Ganun siya. Alright, so writing a critic or critical essay, first, number one, you know your material. Ano ba yung binabasa? Ano may kinikritik mo? Is it about something that was written, or it is something that was been said by someone? Alright. Halimbawa sa Facebook, may sinabi siya, sabihin ka ng critic, okay? Halimbawa, isang literary piece, isang novel, binasa mo. Halimbawa, isang movie. Ano ba yung material mo? Ano ba yung gusto mong i-critique? Number 2, classify the book, the message according to kind and subject matter. Right? Ano ba ito? Patungkol ba saan ito? Is it a novel, a fiction? Is it about romance, drama? tragedy, at kung ano pa. So classify first the book. Ano ba to? Okay? Ano bang patungkol saan ito? And verify briefly. Number 3, state the whole of the book message is about. Okay, yung kabuuan. Enumerate the major parts of the book, message in their order and relation, and lastly, define the problem or problems that the author is trying to solve. You have to identify that. Kaya ano ba yung problema? Kasi kritik ka ng kritik, hindi mo pala alam yung problema, therefore, na-mislead ka na. Okay? So, kailangan mo naman identify yung problema para malaman mo yung solusyon. Kung paano siya pinrovide ang solusyon ng author. Okay? So, baka puro solution lang yun sa'yo, ginagawa, pero hindi siya nag-match dun sa problema talaga na gustong ipakita ng author. So, you have to define the problem first. Okay? So, here are the preliminary questions na pwede mong itanong sa sarili mo while reading a novel or while watching a movie or while listening to someone's idea or speech, okay? Or someone's writing sa Facebook about opinions or comments sa isang contemporary issues. Okay? First, you should ask yourself, okay? Anong yung sarili niya? What is the nature of the piece? Okay? Ano ba yung katungkol saan ba yung binabasa mo? Okay? Anong genre niya? Who wrote it? Why? And what are her qualification? Okay? Sino ba yung nagsulat? Mahalaga kasi integrity ng writer. Okay? Kung yan ay si J.K. Rowling, okay, so more on fiction yan about Harry Potter. Okay? So, kung yan ay mga local writers natin, alam natin na, okay, so, more on ano to, farming, agriculture. So, usually, ganun yung settings ng mga Filipino writers. What is the significance of the piece? Okay, ano kahalagahan nito? Bakit ito sinulat? Okay? What are its objectives? How well are they achieved? What is the design or method for the piece? Does the design help the piece achieve these objectives? What is the particular appeal or lack of appeal? And then what assumptions underlie the piece? Are they offensive or obvious? How do the assumptions and biases affect the validity of the piece? Okay? So, for your organization, introduce the subject first of your critique and the reading under analysis. Secondly, review the background facts or issues that must be understood before the point of the reading can be appreciated. Significance, design, appeal, and so on. Okay? Number 3, review the assumptions in the reading that must be understood before you take a position. Okay, so mag-flashback ka. Alright, ibalikan mo yung binasa mo. Yung mga comments mo ba regarding a certain opinion, idea, position ng author regarding dun sa kanyang literary piece, match ba doon? Okay? So baka naman gawa-gawa mo lang yung mga evidences mo. Hindi naman talaga sinabi ng author. Wala naman talaga doon. Okay, so you're just making it a reflection paper. Okay, so kailangan your critical analysis, though it is subjective, must be supported by evidences. Okay? Organization, make your position statement clear. What is your evaluation? On what basis are you making it? Given what you have stated in number 2 and number 3. So your critical essays should be or should have a thesis statement, a proposition, okay? So kailangan malinaw yung thesis statement mo sa paggawa ng critical essay. Ano ba yung gusto mong sabihin or major critic mo doon sa iyong kinikritik, binasa, narinig, napanood, okay? O nakita. Review the author's idea in light of the position you identified and elaborate on each point that relates to your central position. And then state your conclusion, reminding the reader of the position you have made up, your reasons for making that. So, yan, state mo yung position mo. Okay? Again, ano siya? It's a normal structure the way we write something. Okay? So, meron siyang thesis statement, meron siyang introduction, meron siyang body, at meron siyang conclusion. Okay, so sa conclusion, dun ka palang magbibigay ng iyong final position. Okay? And then, your conclusion is supported by your evidences sa body. And then, in your introduction, dun mo sasabihin ang iyong thesis statement. Alright, for your weekly assessment, what you are going to do is very simple, okay? So it is not a literary piece that you are going to critique, but it's just about our government. I want you to write a critical essay about our government. Okay, so ano ba yung masasabi ninyo sa ating government ngayon? Since we just recently celebrated the People Power One revolution yesterday on February 25. So I want you to make a critical analysis about our government today. Okay, under the administration of our President Rodrigo Roa Duterte. Okay, so you just make a position. Okay, so again, when you write a critical essay about our government, I should find the thesis statement, the introduction, the body, and the conclusion. Okay, so kailangan makita ko yan. Divide your writings in that structure. Okay, so yeah, you make a critical analysis about our government today. So thank you very much for listening for our module number 7, module number 6 for week number 7 about writing a critique or a critical essay. If you have questions, do not hesitate to